They was not scared of Suge Knight. They was terrified.
Suge Knight, just saying his name could shake a room. He wasn't just feared, he was feared.
That nigga Suge Knight was a cold gangster. Yo, Rob.
Known for bullying his way through the industry, Suge didn't climb the ladder, he smashed it to pieces. The stories are legendary. Beatdowns, forcing people to drink urine, even dangling folks off balconies just to make them sign. Ran death row like a street empire. And everyone knew, you don't cross Suge. He was the boogeyman of hip-hop. But guess what? One person wasn't scared at all. Eminem, Slim Shady, didn't flinch, didn't fold, didn't back down. Because M wasn't built like the rest, he came straight out of Detroit. Real Detroit. 8 Mile grit. Not some Hollywood version.
When I knew Eminem was real, he's like, man. This is when I knew. I'm like, damn, Eminem is a real nigga. These niggas.
He was from Detroit. Man, from 8 Mile. So when Suge tried to send a message, M wasn't trying to hear it. And Suge did try to press him. Back in '99, one of the most legendary nights in hip-hop, the Source Awards, Eminem had just dropped the Slim Shady LP, and his single My Name Is was tearing up the charts. He was the hot new rookie, but already dominating the spotlight. They even had him present the Best Live Performer award to none other than DMX. But behind the curtains, it was getting real. Before he even hit the stage, Eminem rolled up to his seat and suddenly found himself boxed in. Suge Knight's crew had surrounded him, sent to test him, to shake him up. But M cool as ice. He stood tall, no panic, no fear. Walked that stage, handed DMX the award like it was nothing, and went right back to his seat, unfazed. But Suge's boys weren't finished. After the show, as M and his security made their way out, the goons were waiting outside, ready to finish what they started. Yeah, Eminem wasn't no punk, but the question is, why was Suge Knight, the top dog of one of the most powerful labels in the game, even going after him? To understand that, you gotta look deeper into the madness behind Death Row Records. This wasn't just music, it was mayhem. In the mid-90s, Death Row was untouchable, dropping culture-shifting albums like Dre's The Chronic, Snoop's Doggy Style, Pac's All Eyes on Me. Straight classics. But while the money and fame poured in, something darker bubbled beneath the surface. That name Death Row started feeling way too literal. Suge Knight ran the label like a warlord. His tactics weren't just tough, they were criminal. There's a story where Suge allegedly forced 2 rappers to strip naked at gunpoint and pistol whip them. All because they used the office phone without asking. That's the kind of madness we're talking about.
M was walking to the seat, I'm standing up to the side, and M was cut off on his way to the seat, and all these guys in red shirts surrounded him. And I'm looking at M's face, and I'm looking at these guys, I'm like, something ain't right. So I start making my way around to come up the aisle, and next thing I know, you see all these guys talking about Death Row, motherfucker, Death Row. I was like, Death Row, what's it got to do with him? He said, hey man, Suge sent him a message. I was like, oh, yeah.
That's how deep the control ran. If anyone stepped out of line, Suge would drag them into a storage room and beat them senseless. Folks working at the label said they'd hear screams echoing through the walls, but nobody ever stepped in. Everyone kept their mouths shut and their eyes low, cause crossing Suge that could end your career or end you. Before long, the whole energy at Death Row turned twisted. It wasn't just Suge anymore. The violence seeped into the culture. Artists, employees, even hangers-on got caught in the storm. Death Row wasn't just a label, it was chaos on wax. But not everybody wanted to live like that. Dr. Dre was different. He was about the music, not the street politics. He didn't sign up for war rooms and beatdowns, so when the madness swallowed the label whole, Dre made a move nobody saw coming. He left everything. His royalties, his rights, his stake in Death Row. Packed up, bounced, and started fresh with Aftermath Records. Why? Because peace and creative freedom meant more than power and blood money. But Suge saw it as betrayal. And Suge Knight didn't take betrayal lightly. To him, Dre wasn't just leaving, he was defecting. And if there was one thing Suge Knight promised, it was revenge. And trust me, he meant it.
After that, we got out of there. We called the limo. This is where it gets out. We called the limo. Death Row is still sitting out there waiting for us. The limo's pulling off as we're coming out. Death Row's behind us. It was like, this motherfucker's trying to kill us, man. What are they trying to do? What do they want? I don't understand. What do they want?
M's ready to swing on someone if he has to.
Yeah, man. Like I said, he ain't no.
Suge was determined to make Dre regret leaving. He pulled every shady move in the book to sabotage Dre's comeback, and at first, it looked like Suge was winning. Aftermath Records wasn't moving like Death Row. Dre's first few releases barely made a ripple, and whispers started circling maybe the magic was gone. Maybe Dre had lost his touch. But then, boom, one little cassette tape flipped the entire game. While digging through demos with Jimmy Iovine, Dre hit play on a voice that made him stop cold. Raw, relentless, unlike anything he'd heard. Dre looked up and said, "Who the underscore is that?" That voice belonged to a hungry kid out of Detroit. A battle-tested MC with a chip on his shoulder and nothing to lose. His name, Eminem. And that's when everything changed.
Absolutely, and I'm always going to believe and bet on myself.
This dude had been through hell. Raised by a single mom, barely scraping by. Dealing with poverty, bullies, and feeling like the world was stacked against him. But every ounce of pain, he poured it straight into his rhymes. In Detroit's underground battle scene, Eminem sharpened his blade. Being white in a black-dominated culture meant he was constantly doubted, written off before he even touched the mic. But the second he started spitting, everything changed. His flow, his wordplay and Then came 1998. Dr. Dre heard the hunger in his voice and made a move that would change music forever. He took a gamble, betting everything on this unknown kid from 8 Mile. He signed Eminem to Aftermath. That risk, it didn't just pay off. It lit the fuse on a cultural explosion.
Well, I don't lead by money. I've never let money lead my...
Together, Dre and M dropped the Slim Shady LP and The Streets Couldn't Get Enough. It debuted at number 2 on the Billboard 200, moving 283,000 units in the first week. Eminem scooped up a Grammy for Best Rap Album, and just like that, Dr. Dre was back on top. Their chemistry, unreal. The mentor-protege dynamic became one of the most powerful duos hip-hop had ever seen. But success comes with shadows. While Dre and M were rewriting the game, Suge Knight was stewing. From behind bars, he watched it unfold, and he wasn't clapping. Death Row wasn't the empire it once was. Tupac was gone. Snoop had become a liability, refusing to play Suge's war games, and he was locked up, losing his grip on the empire he'd built in blood. Now, the throne belonged to Dre and Eminem, and Suge couldn't stomach it. See, Snoop wasn't down for all that East Coast versus West Coast nonsense. He wasn't letting label politics decide who he could or couldn't be cool with, but that only fueled Suge's rage. To him, it was betrayal, and betrayal came with consequences. Suge's fury boiled over into full-blown death threats against Snoop. You could hear it in Snoop's tone. At the time, he was fed up. He was done.
Dr. Dre left first, Pac died. You know, all of those things would have kept us at number 1. The music changed. The direction changed.
Snoop's words said it all. "I don't want to be here." Fear for his life finally pushed him to make a move. He cut ties and walked away from Death Row. Just like that, another superstar was gone. And with him the end of an era. Dre was out, Pac was gone. Now Snoop had bounced too. The empire Suge Knight built through fear, and muscle was collapsing brick by brick. Death Row had lost its shine. Meanwhile, Dre and Eminem were unstoppable. Chart-topping records, sold-out world, tours, Grammys everywhere you looked. It was Dre and M rewriting history. They weren't just artists anymore, they were legends in the making. But success for them meant rage for Suge. Watching Eminem rise alongside Dre felt like the ultimate betrayal. To Suge, this wasn't just business anymore, it was personal. And that's when Slim Shady became his new target.
I seen my cousin Snoop, man. He was like, God, he was sad, man. You know, you could hear in his voice that, I don't want to be here.
Suge started throwing shots in the media. In a 2002 interview with Howard Stern, he went at Eminem's credibility, questioning if Slim was really from the streets or just some white boy playing tough for the cameras. But Suge wasn't just about words, he thrived on intimidation. He wanted to shake Eminem in real life. Back in '99, Dre and Snoop threw what was supposed to be a celebration, a Death Row reunion party in Hawaii. Sun, palm trees, family time, wives, kids, the whole crew came out expecting a vacation. But the vibe flipped fast. When the plane touched down, word spread that Suge's people were already there, lurking in the shadows. What was supposed to be paradise felt more like a setup. Nobody could relax, because with Suge, you never knew if it was going to be a stone or a showdown.
That inherited Dr. Dre's beef by signing with Dre.
In 2001, while 50 was shooting in DA Club, Suge Knight pulled up with a full squad. The set froze, people scattered. But Eminem, he didn't budge. He walked straight outside and faced them head on. No fear, no backing down.
We were all going out. We were supposed to be on vacation and having a good time with our family and kids and wives, and just parlaying, man. As the plane land, they open the door up, and you got Honolulu police standing right there talking about, hey, y'all got to come with us. And it was about 20 officers, man. Say, hey, you guys got to come with us. Death Row Records is here, and they wreaking havoc.
Still, M kept quiet on Suge in public. Why? In 2004's Like Toy Soldiers, he revealed, Dre told him straight up, stay out of it. Don't poke the bear.
Suge is coming! So I'm like,
Suge's outside. Everybody like, shit. He was running, dropped.
So Suge came, he had some Mexican niggas. Now we from New York. You ain't never seen a nigga with a tattoo on his forehead. 118th Street crew. I'm like, what the fuck?
So M stayed silent, but never scared. On Collect Call with Suge Knight, Suge took shots at M, again this time clowning his posthumous collab with Tupac. Loyal to the game, Suge called it a flop, even though it hit #1.
When I knew Eminem was real, he's like, don't give a man. This is when I knew. I'm like, damn, Eminem is a real nigga. These niggas.
Thing is, Loyal to the Game went #1 on Billboard and went platinum. That don't sound like no flop. Fans clapped back, saying Suge was just stirring up old beef. Still, his words had people asking was there any truth to it.
50 niggas outside, what's up? And then the nigga Suge just walked away. The Mexican niggas looked kind of confused, like they didn't know what was going on.
Back in 2003, Eminem reached out to Tupac's mother, Afeni Shakur, asking for her blessing to produce a tribute album. She agreed, and in 2004, Loyal to the Game dropped. The sales were huge, but the response was mixed. Hardcore Pac fans said, it didn't feel like him, the raw, gritty energy, replaced with M's polished, Detroit sound. Eminem never clapped back, just stayed silent. Until now, as 2025 kicked off. An unreleased MD's track from the mid-2000s leaked online and shook the internet. The song, Smack You, was brutal. He roasted Ja Rule, then went at Suge Knight with no fair, accusing him of ties to the deaths of Tupac and Biggie. Bold, reckless, dangerous. If it had dropped back then, hip-hop history might have been rewritten, and that's why Eminem stands as one of the most fearless to ever touch a mic. Like, share, drop a comment, and let us know if Smack You had dropped in its time. Would it have changed everything?